everyone listening to me this morning. What a wonderful day it is right here on your own. This is a 3.7 FM, and it's time for the newspaper review this wonderful morning. As you know, joining me as usual this morning is our in-house analyst. He's also the Chief Operating Officer of Citizen FM, Mr. Salman Salami, and he's also a seasoned journalist. This morning we'll be taking a look at certain newspapers across the national dailies. That's the Punch newspaper, This Day newspaper, Leadership newspaper, Daily Trust newspaper, Vanguard newspaper, Tribune, that's the Nigerian Tribune newspaper, and the Guardian newspaper, as well as the Nation newspaper. And now, with no time wasted, we implore that our super citizen listeners do stay tuned with us this morning. Another half-hour mark, the phone lines will be open for engagement and also in-depth analysis with our in-house analysts. Now, taking a look at the Punch newspaper. On the cover story, it says that 24 states cannot pay salaries without federal government allocation, says budgets. 24 states can't pay salaries without a federal government allocation, says budget. And now it says here that Lagos Computer Village vendors fear revenue loss amid relocation plans. Lagos Computer Village vendors fear revenue loss amid relocation plans. And it says also that Wigwe's PA recounts how luggage stopped him from joining ill-fated chopper. Wigwe's PA recounts how luggage stopped him from joining ill-fated chopper. And also in regards to blackout, federal government threatens to revoke disco's licenses. FG threatens to revoke disco's licenses. And it says as well that minimum wage, labor slashes demand to 500,000 naira. Labor slashes demand to 500,000 naira. Also, high tariff barrier to rural electrification, Schneider Electric. High tariff barrier to rural electrification, Schneider Electric. And also, it says that motorists trapped in gridlock as Lagos closes a third mainland bridge. Motorists trapped in gridlock as Lagos closes a third mainland bridge. And here as well, we'd also see on the Punch newspaper that Zamfara to prosecute suspected killers of Islamic scholar. Zamfara to prosecute suspected killers of Islamic scholar. And lastly, it says here that CBN printing of 22 trillion naira under Buhari fueled inflation, says Edo. CBN printing of 22 trillion naira under Buhari fueled inflation, says Edo. And now let's quickly head over to This Day newspaper, where we'll find on the cover page that NPA generated 501 billion naira revenue in 2023, reiterate $1 billion port reconstruction plan. NPA, that is the Nigerian Port Authority, generated 501 billion naira revenue in 2023, reiterate $1 billion port reconstruction plan. And this one comes with a rider that says that NPA says implementation of performance improvement measures key. Implementation of performance improvement measures key. And now we see that Wigwe's personal assistant Faleye narrates last encounter with his boss. And next says Tinubu Awolowo was victim of his ambition, hostile opposition. In regards to Tinubu, it says Awolowo was victim of his ambition, hostile opposition. And next, Adewale Tinubu kicks against Nigeria's over-reliance on IOCs. Adewale Tinubu kicks against Nigeria's reliance on IOC's subsidy payment. And here again, we see on this day newspaper that amid growing power cuts, Gencos record 27 billion naira capacity losses post 4,700 megawatts stranded supply. Amid growing power cuts, Gencos record 27 billion naira capacity losses post 4,700 megawatt stranded supply. That you'd find on this day newspaper for today, 7th March 2023. And here as well would also see that House to constitute committee on modalities for payment of living wage to workers. House to constitute committee on modalities for payment of living wage to workers. Also, you see in regards to IWD, that's the International Women Day 2024, UNICEF urges more investment in women to promote community health system. UNICEF urges more investment in women to promote community health system. And lastly, it says that Tinubu signs executive order on oil gas project, initiate amendment of legislation to introduce fiscal incentives. Tinubu signs executive order on oil gas project, initiate amendment of legislation to introduce fiscal incentives. You find the stories on this day newspaper for today. And now over to Leadership newspaper. We can see on the top story that appeal court affirms Abure as LP chairman. Appeal court affirms Abure as Labour Party chairman. And as well, on the latest headlines, you see that Bauchi moves against illegal private schools. Bauchi moves against illegal private schools. And in regards to Ramadan, Sharia Council seeks feeding centers for vulnerable Muslims. Sharia Council seeks feeding centers for vulnerable Muslims. And next says, Police Service Commission promotes 1,607 officers. Police Service Commission promotes 1,607 officers. And next, in regards to the student loan, TET Fund FIRS, others meets to perfect take-off plan. TET Fund FIRS, others meets to perfect take-off plan. Tinubu to commission Abuja Rail Mass Transit in May. Tinubu to commission Abuja Rail Mass Transit in May. And here as well, FCTA clamps down on commercial motorcycles. FCTA clamps down on commercial motorcycles. And as we would also see that 40 feared killed as militia gangs clash in Benue. 40 feared killed as militia gangs clash in Benue. And also we'll see on the Leadership newspaper that Nasarawa Assembly passes revenue harmonization bill. Nasarawa Assembly passes revenue harmonization bill. These are the stories you'd find on Leadership newspaper for this morning on the top story and also latest headlines. And let's take a look at Daily Trust newspaper, and afterwards we'll also look at Vanguard, Nigerian Tribune, Guardian, and hopefully, if time permits us, we'll take a look at the Nation newspaper. And now on the Daily Trust newspaper, in regards to food laws, police NEMA tightening security at warehouses and malls. The Lagos State Police Command has beefed up security at shopping malls and government warehouses where food items are stored in the metropolis. Also, we see here that herder 50 cows sheep attacked in Plateau attack. Pardon me. Header, 50 cows, sheep killed in Plateau attack. Next year, we'll see on the Nigeria Daily that it says, is stable electricity the solution to Nigeria's economic woes? Is stable electricity the solution to Nigeria's economic woes? And here, it says that Ogun Seals Nursing Training Institute. Ogun Seals Nursing Training Institute. Woman, 2 men remanded over Bodija explosion. Woman, 2 men remanded over Bodija explosion. And I would also see a story on Daily Trust that says Miyetti Allah leader sues federal government over detention. Miyetti Allah leader sues federal government over detention. And as we would also see here that Akume says why Nigeria is yet to achieve SDG goals. Why Nigeria is yet to achieve SDG goals, says Akume. It says the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, the SGF, Senator George Akume, has explained why Nigeria is yet to achieve most of the objectives of the Sustainable Development Goals, that is the SDGs. He gave the explanation on Wednesday in Abuja at the high-level national dialogue on the implementation of the SDGs in Nigeria, organized by the African Center for Leadership, Strategy and Development Center, LSD, in partnership with the Office of the Senior Special Assistant to the President on SDGs and other partners. Why Nigeria is yet to achieve SDG goals. Now, you see that Tinubu signs executive orders on oil and gas reforms. Tinubu signs executive orders on oil and gas reforms. You find the stories on the Daily Trust newspaper, and also we see that Ekiti government investigates attack on doctors, health workers. Ekiti government investigates attack on doctors, health workers. Those stories you'd find on the Daily Trust newspaper. And lastly, we see that troops kill 5 IPOB members, rescue 15 kidnapped victims in Zamfara. Troops kill 5 IPOB members, rescue 15 kidnapped victims in Zamfara. You find the stories on Daily Trust newspaper for today, Thursday, 7th March 2024. And now quickly, let's see what Vanguard has in store for us this morning. On the cover story, Thierry Emir Sanusi says, I thought I would die before Wigwe. I thought I would die before Wigwe. And we'll see another story that says in regards to the Edo Guba, Oshiomhole denies involvement in impeachment move against Shaibu. Oshiomhole denies involvement in impeachment move against Shaibu. And we'll see here that bloodbath in Benue, 50 killed as militia gangs go to war. Bloodbath in Benue, 50 killed as militia gang goes to war. On the latest news on the Vanguard newspaper, it will say here that UNICEF warns women against home childbirth. UNICEF warns women against home childbirth. NDDC flag off distribution of relief materials to flood victims in Akwa Ibom. NDDC flag off distribution of relief materials to flood victims in Akwa Ibom. And now malaria, over 2 million insecticide treated net to be distributed in Plateau. Over 2 million insecticide treated net to be distributed in Plateau. And lawyers say how state police can work. Lawyers say how state police can work. It says here that amid the recent surge in insecurity across the country, the federal government on February 15, 2024, announced the decision by President Bola Tinubu and state governors to work out a modality for the implementation of state police. Minister of Information Mohammed Idris, who disclosed the information, noted that the president and state governors reached a decision at a crucial meeting. Mr. Idris was, however, quick to add that attendees of the meeting agreed that there was need for more discussions on how to implement it. And now to get up to speed with the rest of this story, please get your hands on a copy of the Vanguard newspaper for today. And now taking a look at more stories, still on Vanguard. It says that insecurity, National Assembly leadership to meet Tinubu as terrorists kill 50 in Benue. Insecurity, National Assembly leadership to meet Tinubu as terrorists kill 50 in Benue. And now see as well that reps to set up committee on minimum wage. Reps to set up committee on minimum wage. And now quickly, let's go to Nigerian Tribune with the cover story that says environment, children's education affected by Shell's gas flaring in Bayelsa, says resident. Environment, children's education affected by Shell's gas flaring in Bayelsa, says the resident. A school was forced to go on recess while the environment has been adversely affected by a gas flaring operation conducted by Shell, an international oil company in the heart of a community in Bayelsa State. Residents of Baranturu community in Ekwatiama Kingdom of Inagua local government area, Bayelsa State, have expressed shock over the sudden onset of a massive gas furnace lit by Shell close to homes in the community without prior notice and consent. And that you find on Vanguard news, or you find a Nigerian Tribune, pardon me. You find that story on the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. And still taking a look at more stories, you'd see here that NIN account linkage, another sad story. NIN account linkage, another story. Economic hardship, lamentations of Nigerians about escalating prices of goods and services. Economic hardship, lamentations of Nigerians about escalating prices of goods and services. And now Mrs. Soludo says, why I extended my Elderly Living Initiative program to secondary schools in Anambra. Why I extended my Elderly Living Initiative program to secondary schools in Anambra. And now Okonola says that at least 6 children undergo limb amputations every month due to mismanagement. At least 6 children undergo limb amputations every month due to mismanagement. I would also see here that Unizik warns new intakes against fake certificate exam malpractice. Unizik warns new intakes against a fake certificate exam malpractice. Now, ex-LASU Vice Chancellor charts path to new Nigeria. Ex-LASU Vice Chancellor chart path to new Nigeria. UI partners ILO WLR to train teachers, community leaders on child labor. UI partners ILO LWR to train teachers, community leaders on child labor. And Anunobi National Librarian says over 600 indigenous languages in Nigeria must not go into extinction. Over 600 indigenous languages in Nigeria must not go into extinction, says Anunobi, national librarian. And now education planning, Katsina government to begin annual school census. And that you find on Nigerian Tribune. Taking a quick look at The Guardian, it says that Edo Assembly begins impeachment process against Shaibu. Edo House of Assembly commenced impeachment proceedings against the deputy governor of the state. And now also, Enugu mother dumps children at police station, commits suicide. Enugu mother dumps children at police station, commits suicide. Here as well, we see that sanctions await employer of underage house helps. Sanctions await employer of underage house helps. Insider collaboration responsible for over 70% of bank frauds, says EFCC. Insider collaboration responsible for over 70% of bank frauds, says EFCC. And taking a look at more of the stories, it says here that United Nations says 2023 was deadliest year for migrants in a decade. UN says 2023 was deadliest year for migrants in a decade. Security, finance, and Nigeria's bumpy road to cleaner energy. And now looking at The Nation newspaper, on the cover page, it says that outages, minister threatens discos with license revocation. Minister threatened discos with license revocation. And also bureaucracy, cash crunch, stall e-passport issuance. Bureaucracy, cash crunch, stall e-passport issuance. It says here as well that APC draws battle line with governor over 16 lawmakers. APC draws battle line with governor over 16 lawmakers. It says that crisis is brewing between the All Progressives Congress, APC, and Plateau State Governor Caleb Mutfwang over the refusal of House of Assembly Speaker Gabriel Dewan to inaugurate 16 members elected on the platform. The National Working Committee yesterday drew a battle line with the governor, accusing him of backing the speaker in his bid to delay the swearing in of the lawmakers. And it also threatened the legal action against the governor and speaker for disobeying the judgment of the Court of Appeal that the 16 members were duly elected by their constituents. You'd find that on The Nation newspaper. It also says that NPA planned $1 billion reconstruction of Tinkan on a port. Others, NPA plans $1 billion reconstruction of Tinkan on a port. Others, Awolowo's legacies, principles live on, says Tinubu. Awolowo's legacy and principles live on, says Tinubu. This comes with two riders that says Gowon Obasanjo, Jonathan Anyoku Hakiwumi at Awolowo Prize for Leadership Award. Also, Nigeria would overcome its challenges under Tinubu's leadership, says Shatima. Nigeria would overcome its challenges under Tinubu's leadership, says Shatima. The principles and legacies of the late sage Chief Obafemi Awolowo will continue to inspire current and future generations in their quest for good governance, President Bola Tinubu said sometimes yesterday. And he said the cherished principles have withstood the test of time and geography through the instrumentality of time itself. You'd find the story on the Nation newspaper. Now, Southeast Commission will end Indigbo marginalizations, says Uba. Southeast Commission will end Indigbo marginalization, says Uba. And now, retired HOS, perm sex still useful, says Olawa. Retired HOS, perm sex still useful, says Olawa. Now, Akpabio says that insecurity has abated under Tinubu. Insecurity has abated under Tinubu. It says that Senate President Godswill Akpabio yesterday said insecurity in the country has drastically abated since President Bola Tinubu assumed office on May 29th, 2023. Akpabio stated this while contributing to a debate on a motion on the latest killings in Benue State. The motion was sponsored by Senator Emmanuel Udende. And then Akpabio said the primary responsibility of the state government is to use the security vote to ensure that the security of lives and properties in Benue State is protected. And with that last story, we would like to take a very quick break. When we're back, we'll obviously kickstart with the analysis. And also, it's important to let our Super Citizen listeners know to call in, engage. The phone lines will be open at exactly 30 minutes to 7 a.m. That is at a half mark. And the number to call is 0903 2229 797. 0903 2229 797, or send a WhatsApp message, or also call the number on 0818 2222205. And with that, we would say do stay tuned. We'll be right back for more right here on Citizen 93.7. And yes, welcome back to the newspaper review right here on Citizen 93.7 FM. Many thanks to our listeners for staying tuned this morning. And before I bring on our in-house analyst, I'd like to also reiterate the phone lines, which is 0903 2229797 0903 2229797 or 0818 2222205 0818-2222205. And now I'd like to bring on our in-house analyst, Mr. Salman Salami, who is also the Chief Operating Officer and a seasoned journalist. We will be kickstarting the first analysis with the story of Awolowo's legacies, Awolowo's remembers, so to say, and the Vice President Shatima did represent President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President Tinubu, right here. He says that Awolowo's legacies, principles live on. Awolowo's legacy, principles live on. And then it says that the event where the African Development Bank President Akinwumi Adesina, a former Minister of Agriculture, received the prize, former military head of State General Yakubu Gowon, former President Olusegun Obasanjo and Goodluck Jonathan, and former Commonwealth Secretary General Chief Emeka Anyaoku described Awolowo as a great leader worthy of emulation. And I would like to hand over to our in-house analyst and then, pick his brain on what he thinks about this story where Tinubu says Awolowo's legacies, principles live on.
Once again, let me welcome our super citizen listeners to this analysis of the newspapers review and the analysis of the newspapers today. Well, we have seen it all, that what is important in life is the principles and the legacies and how impactful our lives are, and not necessarily the number of years we stay on earth. How many decades after the demise of Baba Jeremiah Obafemi Awolowo's demise? It's quite over 3 decades. Yet, his principles and legacies still with us. The lesson to be learned is this: how will you be remembered? This is so important in that our present day politicians should know and realize that it is not the primitive acquisition of wealth that is important. No. You should see politics for what politics is. It's just an avenue to render selfless service to the common man, to the people, and not the highway to making money. General Gowon was there. General Olusegun Obasanjo was there. Former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan was there. And super diplomat Emeka Anyaoku was there. By all standards, these are statesmen and frontline Nigerians, where Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, former Minister for Agric and the President of African Development Bank, now was appreciated, recognized, and inducted as one of the leading mentors in the country, and is qualified by all standards. Akinwumi Adesina is an icon. Is a national asset. Is eminently qualified to receive Obafemi Awolowo Prize for leadership. These are values that we should emulate bringing up and presenting Adewumi Adesina and raising him up as a mirror for all of us to emulate is instructive, is salutary. This is how it should be. I think there is the need for us to engage on a paradigm shift now. It's not so much so how much money you have made, how many houses you have built. What will live after you is how impactful your life has been. And Baba Obafemi Awolowo stands as a veritable example of how life should be lived. Do something with your life. Do things that will outlive the life itself. That is called legacy. Yes, Baba Awolowo, you were a sage. Yes, Baba Awolowo, you lived.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Salami, for that. Now, taking a look at the next story here that says that Akpabio says insecurity has abated under Tinubu. Apparently, the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, yesterday said insecurity in the country has drastically abated since President Bola Tinubu assumed office on May 29th, 2023. And he stated this while contributing to a debate on a motion in the latest killings in Benue State. Mr. Salami, please.
For Akpabio to say that insecurity has abated means that there is a disconnect between our leaders and the led. We keep on saying it, that there is the need for for public office holders to tell the truth and the whole truth. To say that insecurity has drastically abated is, to say the least, comical. That is not correct. Nigerians are still battling with insecurity. Good enough that this happened yesterday on the hallowed chambers of the Senate when Senator Emmanuel Udende from Benue State raised alarm over the recent killings in Benue, and for the Senate President to unabashedly say that insecurity has drastically abated is, to say the least, untrue. It has not drastically abated. I doubt if it has abated at all. Nigerians are not sleeping with their eyes closed. There are kidnappings, acts of terrorism. Just yesterday, over 50 people were killed in Benue. So it has abated? I doubt if Akpabio is living in this present day Nigeria.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Salami, for that one. And now let's even talk about, the SDG goals. Akume says, why Nigeria is yet to achieve SD goals. Akume is the secretary to the government of the Federation, that's the SGF, and he has explained why Nigeria is yet to achieve most of the objectives of the sustainable development goals, the SDGs. And he gave this explanation on Wednesday in Abuja at the high-level national dialogue on the implementation of the SDGs in Nigeria. Apparently, the SGF, represented by a director in his office, Mr. Ibok Abia, said it was unfortunate that despite being a noble idea, the SDGs, which place greater demand on the scientific community, are still being assailed by some challenges like global economic downturn, violent conflicts in some countries, biodiversity loss, degradation, desertification, and climate change. And now, Mr. Salami, what is your own perspective on this?
You see, the Sustainable Development Goals, as outlined by the UN, is a noble one and is achievable. It's achievable. You see, I keep on talking about genuine excuses. When you give excuse, no matter how genuine, it remains what it is. excuse remains excuse. It will not make the work to go well. Let us stop giving excuses as to why we cannot achieve ideal goals. Let us work at it. Stop giving excuses. Accept responsibility. If we continue to give excuse, we will not go far in life. You can always manufacture excuses. It's very easy. In fact, it's the easiest thing to do. Why I am not able to do this? Why I am not able to do this? Is that how we are going to live our lives? Up till now. Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. The list of it all, have we been able to achieve it up till now? There is the need for us to be serious. Let's work on this country. Let's make this country work. Let's stop giving excuses. Let's accept full responsibility. And let's do the needful. That is how we can move this country forward. There will always be excuses. Stop making excuses. Work hard. Go to work. Make this country work.
All right, that's the intention actually. And as Mr. Salami has said, to work hard, no excuses, go to work and walk the talk and not just talk. And now let's even take a look at this one that says that on the Punch newspaper, it says that 24 states cannot pay salaries without federal government allocation, says budget. At least 24 states of the Federation will not be able to pay workers' salaries this year without having to wait for federal allocations from the central government. Only 11 out of the 36 state governments of the Federation can independently pay their workers' salaries without depending on federal allocations, according to an analysis of the state government's approved budgets for the 2024 fiscal year. Now, the states with robust internal revenue are Lagos, Kano, Anambra, Edo, Enugu, Imo, Kaduna, Kwara, Osun, Ogun, and Zamfara. Now to Mrs. Salami, what is your take on this?
And I want to believe that it is the lack of visionary leadership that is causing this. There is no state in Nigeria that shouldn't be able to pay salary without resorting to grants and allocation, monthly allocation from the federal government. I think what is the meaning of this feeding bottle democracy? If at the end of the day, we don't have visionary leaders who could just leverage on the resources of the state. For example, there is no state in this country that doesn't have mineral resources. There are so many resources in each state that if you have a visionary governor or leader there who is to look at the resources and find a way of increasing the internally generated revenue from that state, most of the states will be able to demand when commissioners of finances from the states will come to Abuja to collect their allocation on a monthly basis. It's sad. The question again is this: why is it that it is always about coming to Abuja to collect your own share of the national cake? Why are we not thinking of how to bake more cake? So our own is to come here and collect every month and spend. What happens if the oil revenue, which is the mainstay of our revenue, weakens or is no more as attractive to the international community and does not bring dollars again? What do we do? Must we wait till that time? Can't we diversify? Is it too difficult for our government to think about all these things? When we are making money now and we are not spending the money well, what if the money stops coming? What happens? I think there is the need to put on our thinking cap. If well and other fuel that are climate friendly are coming, researches are going on, And you think that crude oil will sell forever? Oh my God. I pray that we do the needful so that the future generation will not curse us.
Amen. All right, thank you very much, Mr. Salami. Very important to do the needful and also make sure that we keep edging ahead and not just slacking every time. And I would end with this particular story, but then it's broken into two sides. On the Punch newspaper, I will see a story where Wigwe's PA recounts how luggage stopped him from joining ill-fated chopper. His name is Shola Faleye, who is the personal assistant to the late Group Chief Executive Officer of Access Bank PLC. And he has recounted how he narrowly escaped the helicopter crash that claimed the lives of his boss, the CEO's wife, son, and business associate, Abimbola Ogubanjo. And also on the Vanguard newspaper, still in regards to Wigwe's death, Thierry Emir Sanusi says, "I thought I would die before Wigwe." On the 9th of May, and he did break down three times while paying tribute to Herbert, and each time he broke down, Abia State Governor Alex Oti and an aide comforted him. The aide had to spread his babariga to shield his teary face from the audience, and he has said that he thought he would die before Wigwe. So those are the two stories in relation to the tributes being paid to the late Herbert Wigwe and his family. So now over to you, Mr. Salami. What is it that you have to say on these stories?
As purveyors of news and as journalists, we don't have any other job than minding other people's business. I was glued to the TV yesterday, TV set. It was a very moving moment called Night of Tributes. I watched everything and I went, if that does not touch the life of other people positively, it's a useless life. We must live an impactful life. Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, former CBN governor, the 14th emir of Kano State, was in tears. He broke down on more than 3 or 4 occasions. Ike Mukwede came over and said the death of Wigwe did not make any sense to him. Why? He said the Bible said, honor your father and your mother. Why? So that your days will be long. He said he knew for a fact that HOW, as friends called him yesterday, about Nkechi Wigwe, honor the father and the mother, yet the life was not long. That is the mystery of life. God knows best. But the takeaway was what Shola Faleye, the PA, told you cannot add a second to prolong your life if the time as ordained or destined by God is up. Like I keep on saying, it is not the number of years that matter in life. It's the number of life that you bring into the years that matter. And what do we mean by this? Let's live impactful life. Let us touch other people's lives. If you are in government, in public office, use the public office to benefit the people in such a manner that when you leave this terrestrial plane called Earth, people will remember you. They are still celebrating Baba Obafemi Awolowo. Sardauna, they are still celebrating on a daily basis. In Nnamdi Azikiwe, we still mention their names. Would they mention your names months after you might have left? You think it's the houses that you are building, the Jaguars that you are buying, and the public fund that you are siphoning